Welcome to week 6 of our BCBA exam prep series. I'm Catherine Kellogg, and we're going to be diving into the schedules of reinforcement today. We're going to talk about the 4 basic schedules of reinforcement in this video, and then in part 2, we'll go into compound schedules of reinforcement. So first, there's 4 main terms that you really want to understand what they mean, and then we can combine them all together. So we have fixed and variable. Fixed is same, and variable is intermittent. Ratio and interval. Ratio is per occurrence, and interval is time-based. When we combine those terms together, we have fixed ratio, variable ratio, fixed interval, and variable interval. So we'll talk about what all of these mean, as well as some advantages. Okay, so first, the most basic schedule is fixed ratio. Before we get into that and the instances of the behavior, continuous reinforcement is a fixed ratio schedule that is used when we're teaching new skills. You're reinforcing every single occurrence. It's an FR1 or a fixed ratio of 1. With variable ratio, it's intermittent. And so we have reinforcement after an average or variable number of responses. And this one's great and the most persistent because it's unpredictable. So we have that intermittent schedule of reinforcement. We never know when you're going to get reinforced. And so therefore your behavior is more persistent. There's a high steady rate of responding with variable schedules of reinforcement, specifically variable ratio. With fixed interval schedules, this is where there's a set number of time before the reinforcement is delivered. So like an FI 30 would be for 30 seconds, would be every 30 seconds, no matter what the reinforcement is given. Variable interval is mixed up and intermittent with time-based. And so we have, for example, a VI 1 minute is about every minute. Sometimes it's 2, sometimes it might be closer to 45 seconds. It's a moderate, steady rate of responding, and it's unpredictable, so that does have benefits. We're going to look at a graph for a moment. Let's look at this graph for a moment and talk about something called post-reinforcement pause. First up, we have variable ratio, and this again is that varied responding that is unpredictable and intermittent, kind of like slot machines. So you can see that it has a steady rate of responding and it's a pretty sharp increase of the behavior. The lines indicate when the reinforcement is delivered, and then this is the cumulative number of responses. So you can see there's that sharp increase and no post-reinforcement pause. With fixed ratio, this one, we do have a post-reinforcement pause. And what that means is after reinforcement, there's a pause or dip in responding. That's because after you finish something and get your reinforcement, you kind of sit back and relax for a minute. It's predictable. You know when to expect it. Okay, so after you have a week of assignments and you finally turn them all in, you might not sign in for a few days. Your rate of responding for participating in class or joining decreases. If you just got let's just say a kid received a lot of stickers and they got their token board and they exchanged it, they might not have a dip in responses for post-reinforcement pause. Variable interval is next. Again, since it's variable and intermittent, that unpredictability causes that steady rate of responding here. But since it is varied and still unpredictable, there's no post-reinforcement pause because they don't really know when to take that break. Fixed interval is the same. Also with this one, you can think about time-based. Let's say you're sprinting for 5 minutes, then you pause afterwards. Sprinting for 5 minutes, you pause afterwards. So that's another way to look at this. Fixed interval is scalloped. So you can think of fish, scale, scalloped. It's a little bit of a stretch, but that's how I remember it. As far as resistance to extinction, so that means depending on what our schedule of reinforcement is, depends on how resistant to extinction that behavior is or how persistent it's going to be. The variable schedules, whether it's variable ratio, that's more resistant. Variable interval is also pretty resistant to extinction. That means that since you don't know when you're going to get it, you're going to be persistent in trying to get that reinforcement more so than if you're delivered every single time. If it's continuous and reinforcement is given every single time, the second you stop delivering reinforcement, it's only going to take a few more times for the behavior to stop. Okay, versus if you have a history of variable reinforcement, that's why slot machines are so addicting. And that's why this example comes up, People are addicted to them because they keep pushing that button. Okay, maybe this time, maybe this time, maybe this time. When that's put on extinction, it might take them rounds of losing money before they move to the other machine. Oftentimes, variable schedules of reinforcement are used for maintenance and maintaining skills. We start with a thick schedule of reinforcement or continuous, and then we thin it out. We thin the schedule out to a more variable uh, schedule of reinforcement. Now, we want to make sure we avoid something called ratio strain, whereas if we thin too quickly, that can cause an increase in behavior because the motivation dips and we're not providing enough reinforcement. So hopefully this helps a basic understanding of these schedules of reinforcement. In the next video, we'll do compound schedules of reinforcement. I hope this helped. If you have questions on the graph, please comment below, or if you want more examples of these, I'm happy to add context. Make sure you subscribe to get notified for these weekly video updates. We still have a way to go through the TCO, and I will be here every week posting. Thanks for watching. See you next time.